This kid hasn't caught during his entire 10 years at DreamWorks logo fixture. Isn't it about time we found someone who can?
Through the years, I have been known by many names.
Puss in narration.
I am Puss in Boots.
Wow, this might be the fastest roll credits in history. Sure, we saw Rosa lightly bat the ball of string earlier, but it hasn't been a part of the action until this moment. During this whole sequence, I'd expect to at least see the string somewhere in the frame, but it's nowhere to be found until now. And what's worse, it doesn't even factor into the scene in any fun way. Apparently, this center triangle piece of this fabric forgot to turn on its gravity awareness filter after it was cut out. Fireworks. I mean, maybe if humans could be trusted to only set them off on celebration days, they would be fine, but my neighbor thinks Independence Day is celebrated from June 26th to August 15th, so yeah, fireworks. Damn, these cards are kind of marked, aren't they? How are you supposed to play with these when everyone knows exactly what you have? Or is this a game where someone combined poker with memory? Not all cats are lactose intolerant, but most of them are. And I'm willing to believe Puss in Boots doesn't get sick when he drinks it, but this is the second time the movie has suggested that milk is like alcohol for cats. Like this is what they drink when their son tells them he wants to be a YouTuber.
The only thing you find tonight is trouble. Puss in Boots.
We get it. You know the name of the character and the title of the movie. You've said it 3 times in the first 5 minutes. I can only roll so many credits. Puss gets up from his chair and supposedly cuts off half this guy's beard and half the other guy's mustache. But in the close-ups, right after the sword is swung, their facial hair stays intact until the reveal. Also, the sword appears to cut the right side of this guy's face, but it's the left side that's missing parts of his beard.
You do not want to make the cat angry.
If there's one thing I've always admired about pants, it's that they have a great sense of comedic timing. This guy's going to show off his tattoos that tell the story of the magic beans and the golden goose, and that's when Puss takes a huge interest in it. Like this proves beyond a reasonable doubt that this story is true. But later we're going to find out that this was a big obsession his buddy Humpty Dumpty had. So why does he get enamored with this story? All they say is that they've seen the magic beans. Puss doesn't believe it until the guy shows his tattoos, which don't prove Also, the upkeep on shaving just the chest hair from that area of the tattoo does not seem like the kind of manscaping this crowd would be into. So why would you swallow the key? How are you supposed to get the magic beans out when you need them? And while this whole thing is going to be revealed to be a master plan set up by Humpty, the key swallowing is just another bullshit thing that won't make sense by the end of the movie. Also, is this the first time you've done this? You've apparently had the magic beans long enough that people around town know that you have them. So why are you only now locking them up? Puss peeks into the window on the top floor, but didn't Jack and Jill get a room that was on the middle floor? There's a floor above them, right? Cutting comically shaped window entrances instead of cutting something more practical. Also, hardy har, he cut his exact body shape out of the glass, except he didn't. When he cut this, he clearly did not include cuts for his tail or his feather. Movie and Snapchat debut within 1 month of each other. Coincidence? I think not. I didn't realize how many convenient ropes were hanging around town for characters to cut and swing to their escape until I started watching movies. It's funny because that's where his balls would be, except he doesn't have any. But it's still funny because balls. Has she not seen a cat before? She can clearly see him. Why would she think he's a chupacabra? Interspecies mid-chase flirting. This movie has the audacity to say that the hat's feather would somehow have the tensile strength to knock a hole not only through wood, but through the thickest part of the frame. Movie doesn't know how to feather correctly. Wow, does this cow provide all 3 of the milks on tap at this kitty speakeasy? I hope she's compensated well for this kind of work. Seriously, what does a cow get out of this arrangement? God damn it, why does every comical fight have to be a dance fight? Why is that always the go-to? Also, movie has time for this. Movie has time for 4 full minutes of this. Disrespecting gravity. Fun fact, the filmmakers accomplished this illusion by securing the actors to wires in front of a green screen and then painting them out later. It's a neat trick. I'm ready to accept anything in a cartoon, to a point, but where the f*** did he get that guitar? If characters can magically produce guitars in situations like these, then why can't they magically produce anything they want?
You're a woman?
Masked character that went toe-to-toe with male protagonist turns out to be a woman cliche. It even happened earlier in 2011 when Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides came out.
You left me cracked in pieces on a bridge, surrounded by soldiers. They wrote a song about it.
Did they? I mean, I know there's a nursery rhyme, but without a melody, I don't think you can consider it a song, you narcissistic omelet.
That's a lot of heel for a guy, don't you think?
Gender norms.
You got any idea what they do to eggs in San Ricardo prison? It ain't over easy.
Was that a prison rape joke in a kid's movie? Yes. Yes, it was. Also, ironically, in a prison, they call it the Dumpty Humpty. Also, if they truly did make a song about Humpty Dumpty, the one we all know and love, how did Humpty Dumpty get put back together again? Or is this movie saying that Humpty Dumpty didn't have a great fall and that he was just arrested? Maybe great fall means he had a great fall from grace? And the pieces were his psyche? Why would anyone make a nursery rhyme about this?
What happened between you and Humpty that was so bad?
Well, he said there was no such thing as Bruce Almighty Moon, and I told him, look at the f***ing moon, dude. Just look at it! Things were never the same since.
You may want to see it.
Man, I haven't seen someone force someone else to sit through a boring overlong story to this degree since Chris tied me up and made me watch The English Patient. You're telling me that the wind blew this basket from the desert across a bridge into a town and straight to an orphanage? Did someone put paraffin on the basket before they put you in it? Did Georgie die because you went too fast down the sewer and he got killed by a clown that can only be defeated by hurling insults at it? I'm not sure where the cartoon physics line is for what I'm willing to accept, but I am sure that this spoon hitting both of these kids and then traveling all the way back to Puss at this speed crossed it by a decent margin. Teasing seeds with a Rube Goldberg watering system.
First rule of Bean Club, you do not talk about Bean Club. Second rule of Bean Club is you don't talk about Bean Club.
Third rule of Bean Club, someone yells stop, goes limp, taps out, the bean is over. Fourth rule, only 2 guys to a bean. Eighth and final rule, if this is your first night at Bean Club, you have to be. Also, if this ends up with Humpty holding Puss's lye-covered paws underwater while his fur burns off, I'm taking all the sins back. I've been watching Humpty Dumpty talk for a while, and now I have to wonder, are there other living eggs like him? This world is filled with all the usual stuff, but with an occasional talking egg or gingerbread man. It feels like there would be more of them. There's no way a 3-pound kitten is taking down a 2,000-pound charging steer. It's a simple matter of weight ratios. I'm just not putting up with this movie's literal ton of bullshit.
Wear them as a symbol of honor and justice.
Yeah, sure, boots for a cat as a symbol of honor and justice. Makes total sense. Well, I sure am glad that we heard that origin story. Puss himself makes fun of how strange this is in a few seconds, but I already wrote this, so movie can't have that sin back.
Little did I know that one moment would change my whole life.
But if you believe in free will and the butterfly effect, doesn't every moment change your whole life? And if you're a determinist, then no moment changes your life. So no matter what you believe, putting one moment's value over any other seems like faulty reasoning, and an illusion of the perceived narrative. Sorry, I got way too deep there. Back to your asshole, egg-philandering feline kids movie. How did you not already know this was the bank? You've lived in this town your whole life, and the montage of scams you and Humpty pulled off suggests you know this place inside and out. Also, Humpty is an expert bank thief who can carry multiple bags of coins that are all probably heavier than him and chuck them over a wall with tremendous strength. And didn't he need help to get over the wall on the outside? What's on the inside that allows him to get back over the wall? Puss survives this. If you're going to sit that far away from your fire, why even make one in the first place?
His lies cost me everything.
Movie acknowledges that spending over 10 minutes on narrated backstory is mind-numbingly boring, but does it anyway. This movie has so much time to fill, it literally just did a triple crossfade advancement of a shot of Jack and Jill riding across the desert. Gotta hit 90 minutes. By the way, quick question. Do the demon warthogs do any better at hauling this wagon than, say, horses? Feels like if you have the capacity to round up unexplained evil Pumbas to haul you around, you could get a horse or two. What practical purpose does this whack-a-mole style chariot serve? More constricting and dangerous than if they just sat outside like normal. Is it supposed to be funny? Do they miss being in stocks? Is it so they can give each other handies without anyone seeing? This movie confuses randomness with entertainment.
Excellent.
I believe you mean excellent. Don't deny yourself the simple pleasures of just being what you were born to be, movie. Jeez, if a single claw could open locks like this, who needs keys? Also, Jack's wrist had to have been touching the box, right? How does he not feel the pressure getting released when the box is open? If the box were lying on the floor, Jack's hand could be in the box without touching it, but it was clearly suspended in midair, meaning Jack's wrist was holding it there. Maybe it's because he knows it's all a setup. But then I don't understand why Jack and Jill try to kill Puss after this when they hear one of their pigs squealing in the back. This would be as good a time as any to pretend to be mad about Puss trying to steal the beans. So she chewed through the ropes, fine, but how did Jill get all the way out of there? She's too wide to squeeze through, and too not superpowered to shrink or teleport out.
You think this is over?
Well, honestly, I was hoping it was close. We were down inside this wagon when Puss and Kitty were trying to steal the beans. There was absolutely no way they had cannons stored down there. They had a bunch of stuff hanging up inside, but none of them were cannons. Also, Puss and the others are directly across from Jack and Jill. How the hell are these cannons missing them? And yes, we find out later about Humpty's plan, but this could have killed them, right?
Kitty, you're not as good as they say. You're better.
Sorry, PIB, I think that move is trademarked by Simon Cowell and is solely used in reality competition shows.
You know, I read somewhere that plants have feelings.
Using Reddit as a scientific source.
Hi, little plant.
It's a good thing the beanstalk took them with it. Can you imagine having to climb this? Movie steals the throwing your balls at each other as a sign of affection scene from Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, which stole it from Dumb and Dumber, which stole it from Groundhog Day, which stole... The only thing missing from this flirty kitty tumble is Can You Feel a Love Tonight?
You might want to take a look at this.
You better come take a look at this cliche.
Humpty, you're not wearing underwear.
Commando shaming. Also, wait, are you saying Humpty has privates down there? Is there a scenario where Humpty might get to do the Humpty dance? Oh, yuck me, baby.
Legend has it that if you look at it, you'll turn to stone, but nobody really knows because nobody's walked away from it alive.
To borrow a line from a movie series that this movie steals quite a bit from, no survivors. Then where do the stories come from, I wonder?
I need powder!
I mean, a telepath with electromagnetic powers and alopecia could always come in handy, but what a weird place to realize that.
How are we gonna get across?
Champagne.
Sure was nice of the giant to leave an unopened bottle of champagne on his table before he died. Cheers! Also, here's some bull. Puss sinks his tiny sword into the giant champagne bottle and it just uncorks like magic and has enough propulsion to send them across this chasm? This is totally confusing. This is a baby goose, right? Do babies lay eggs? There's a perfectly good adult goose running around here, but the story needs this baby to lay eggs so they could take her from the castle because the eggs themselves are too heavy and the adult goose is ginormous. Once again, it was all about weight ratios. There was definitely no reason for Humpty to wear this golden suit, even though he claimed it was to blend in with all the other golden eggs, but it sure comes in handy as a flotation device that he definitely didn't know he would need.
Hello!
Oh, hi. Question. Considering earlier you said your voices were high and squeaky because of the thin air, but then once you got inside, they weren't because there was pressure in there, why aren't they squeaky again now that you're out? You can't have your imitation chipmunks and eat them too, or something. How the did Puss and everybody cut down this beanstalk? And do not tell me it was Puss's cat claws that did this.
To being rich!
Wow, those eggs sure do seem a lot lighter than when you could barely lift them just a couple minutes ago. It's almost like this movie is interested in advancing the plot more than remaining consistent.
I've also been known as the fairy lover.
I had a friend who people called a furry lover, and he really loved this movie. Still trying to figure out the connection. That's a lot of eggs that have happened in the last 3 minutes, and this sin is for the poor chick's golden cloaca. I'm half expecting one of Jack and Jill's evil warthogs to run in and save the day here. Why did Puss get a horse? There was nobody and nothing left when he woke up. Cat in a hat. Okay, Humpty's in cahoots with Jack and Jill. So why did they stage all that bullshit in the mountains then? Why not just set something up where Puss, Kitty, and Humpty could have stolen the beans in a safer way? It would have led to the same result. They nearly lost the f***ing beans. There's a way to do this double cross intelligently, and instead this movie chose the road more traveled by, and that has made all the stupidity. I'm adding 50 sins for this. These assholes. Why are these assholes in on it? There was nothing they did that directed Puss to start finding the magic beans. All he did was escape from that guy, and he nearly killed Mr. in Boots. Also, the only reason this plan worked is because Puss believed a guy at a bar when he said he saw some magic beans. Puss had given up on the story completely, but one asshole with tattoos says he saw the beans and suddenly he got interested in this shit again. This Humpty was there at every turn thing is really funny, especially the part where he's throwing birdseed everywhere for the buzzards, but it's also extremely untrue. But hey, I'm amused. I'm only adding one sin. Also, I mean, an egg in a cat costume is always funny, but at this point in the movie, he was about to show himself anyway, so this just seems like overkill.
Woo-hoo! No, don't stop on my account.
Just when I think this kid's movie couldn't get any pervier, it has a dirty old man getting off on feline self-fellatio. Puss in Boots suddenly turns into an episode of Family Guy. Also, why does this guy get shackled inside the cell while Puss gets to wander around freely? I mean, yeah, a guy who gets off on watching cats bathe probably needs to be shackled, but how much more restraint do you need once he's behind bars?
You had the beans?
Who are you?
This is the second time a character has nodded off while watching Puss in Boots, but it still has millions to go before it catches up to the number of audience members.
Don't take the goose.
Why?
Hey, screenwriters, just because you fell asleep writing this doesn't mean you have to include every time it happened in the screenplay.
The Great Terror! That's the golden goose's mom.
I know Humpty Dumpty is a lying piece of shit, but didn't he say that nobody knew what the Great Terror looked like because nobody had survived the experience? But this asshole knows it's the golden goose's mom, so what was the mystery? Oh, you with your handy cat spraying thing that probably didn't even exist back then and that you only have for joke purposes. This might be the joke, but how the did Andy get out of his shackles? There's no setup to this joke at all. I'm just going to assume the filmmakers forgot he was shackled. Did he just cut that guy's pants off from across the room? Does he have telekinesis? Sergei Bobcats.
Humpty, I'm sorry I hurt you.
Humpty Dumpty sat on a skip! As Goosilla rumbles through the town, I just realized something. The Great Terror and the Golden Goose have been legends for years. Does the Golden Goose grow up to be the next Great Terror when the Great Terror dies? If so, where's the male goose for mating purposes? Or is this movie saying that both the goose and the terror are the same age as they were when the legend started? Because that feels like too long a time to work. Yeah, sure, the Great Terror really gives a f*** about this dude's tattoo and rubber ducky. Totally makes sense she'd get upset over that. And yeah, this guy deserves to be tossed 100 feet in the air, but it's not like the Great Terror knows that. It's a good thing Kitty just happened to be hanging around this part of town so that she could save Humpty from Jack and Jill. Duck! Duck! Goose?
I'm not a person. I'm not a bird. I'm not even a food.
Well, not with that attitude, you're not.
I don't know what I am.
So it's safe to say that you don't know exactly what you are then? Whatever you were, you're a shell of your former self.
You have to save the baby or the mama will destroy San Ricardo.
Considering the damage she's already done to the streets, several homes, and this bridge, I'm pretty sure that ship has already sailed, Humpster.
I will not let you go, Humpty.
Where the f*** is Kitty now? She ex-machinas whenever the story needs it and apparently holds back when the story wants to do something else.
I know you won't. So I won't make you choose.
The journey from so full of spite and revenge that you would dedicate your entire life to an intricate plan to destroy someone, to sacrificing your life for them, is a pretty long one. HD somehow makes it in less than a day. He must be emotionally exhausted. Oh, you couldn't do that until now?
These boots are made of the finest Corinthian leather.
If you get the chance to reference 1970s Chrysler commercials, you have to take it. I mean, that's just screenwriting 101. Unpasteurized milk.
This is the story of a cat who became a hero.
I know, I just sat through the whole thing. You're telling me something I already know. It's exactly like when my dad gave me the birds and bees talk my junior year of high school. Still not sure how he got Antonio Banderas to narrate that shit, but my dad's a pretty resourceful guy.
I said over easy!
Hey, you know what else we poke fun at? Music videos. Them shits have sins too, trust me. And we're more than willing to point the counter at the Tay-Tays, the Biebers, the Billies, and many more. Check out Music Video Sins today.
You made the cat angry. You do not want to make the cat angry.
You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
I don't like you now.
Did you just throw my cat out the window?
Hambony will save your life someday.
Next week on the sarcastic clapping family of Southampton.
You hit me in the head with a guitar?
Hijo de puta, motherfucker.
I'm considering a partnership.
I tend to think of myself as a one-man wolf pack. But when my sister brought Doug home, I knew he was one of my own. And my wolf pack, it grew by one.
I did a Peter Pan right here off of this dam, right here. His lies cost me everything.
But enough about me. I hope this hasn't been boring for you. It's just that whenever I start to talk about Elaine, I always get so carried away.
In the northern hemisphere, water always drains counterclockwise. It's called the Coriolis effect.
I will find you.
And I will kill you.
Open the door.
I will remove these restraints and leave the cell with the door open.